The start of a new year is probably the best time to build new habits and chance to slow down, reflect on what you would like to bring into your life this year. That's how last January I suddenly felt a spark of inspiration to draw again, almost 9 years after graduating from Architectural Academy, and all these years I had barely drawn at all. I kind of forgotten how much I love it. And now, a year later, I'm glad to see you in this video on my art channel, and I want to share with you just a few super simple tips that might have inspired you to pick up drawing too and enjoy the process. Plus, we will create this cozy winter scene with watercolor. So, let's start 2025 with some creativity and inspiration. Start small. Even experienced artists often admit they feel intimidated by a big, empty canvas. So, if you're a beginner or like me coming back to drawing after a long break, big projects can feel overwhelming. I mean, you can literally start small. Try a smaller format like a postcard-sized piece of paper or a tiny sketchbook. It is less intimidating, quicker to complete, and gives you a sense of accomplishment right away. A small pocket-sized limited palette is another great invention. Not only it is incredibly cute, but also with fewer options, you will focus on experimenting with the basics instead of getting stuck choosing colors. The key is to keep it simple and doable so the process feels fun, not stressful. Draw regularly. Even just 10-15 minutes drawing a day can help establish a routine, and you don't need to set yourself up for a strict daily challenge, though I must admit it's an incredibly effective way to improve your skills, but try to practice as often as you can. But remember that our brains are lazy and often resist the idea of setting up and preparing all the materials for work. That's why point 1 again is so helpful. If your paper and paints are compact and easily accessible, lying right on your desk, looking at you every day, one day your hand will almost instinctively reach for them. Then, the positive reinforcement and dopamine from finishing even a small piece will do their job, and before you know it, drawing becomes your delightful habit. Treat yourself to some beautiful new art materials, a sketchbook, paints, or even just a nice set of brushes. It's a simple yet incredibly effective way to get inspired and excited to start. But keep in mind, stay disciplined in the art store. Start with just the basics. Art stores are like candy shops. You can end up walking out with a whole suitcase of dry pastels, for example. And yes, that person with a suitcase is me. So, stay tuned for exploring new techniques and materials on my channel soon. If you're working with watercolors, as in this tutorial, even if you're a beginner, I would suggest investing in high-quality materials. Refer back to point 1. You don't need a large format of paper, but choose excellent 100% cotton paper. You don't need a wide array of colors, but go for paints from professional brands. There is nothing worse than being discouraged because of poor quality materials and mistakenly thinking that watercolor just isn't for you. point is very important. Silence your inner critic and find your people. First, stop striving for perfection on your first try or with every piece. I've fallen into this trap myself, especially during my time in architecture academy. You're constantly completing assignments, seeing your work displayed alongside others, being compared and graded. The halls are filled with the best works of past students, and while this is an invaluable learning experience, it is easy to fall into the comparison trap, striving for some abstract ideal and losing sight of what is really important. Appreciating the process, not just the result. Nothing compares to that meditative state when you are fully immersed in drawing, completely losing track of time and the world around you. Did you know that when you make art, you engage the part of your brain that silences the part responsible for anxiety? This is how we're wired, so just draw. With consistent practice, your skills will grow naturally. The second thing is, it's even better if you will find supportive friends or loved ones to share your work with, who will respond with, "Wow, this is a masterpiece." This kind of encouragement is so uplifting and will keep you motivated. Beauty truly lies in the eye of the beholder. I'm also so grateful to have found incredible support here on my channel and to read your kind comments. On that note, I would like to share some small news that recently I have started a Patreon page. As a beginner creator, I'm not offering any exclusive paid content yet, and I strongly believe in keeping art inspiration free and accessible for everyone. But if you would like to support me and help this channel to grow, you can now do so on Patreon. I will include a heartfelt credit to all my patrons at the end of my future YouTube videos as a small way to say thank you. I'm also open to any suggestions for the kind of content you would love to see on Patreon. Scrolling through endless pictures while looking for a reference can easily turn into hours of searching, leaving your mind overstimulated and too tired to actually draw. I recommend, when inspiration strikes, not spending too long picking the perfect reference. Trust that your creative mind will tweak and improve it as you go. Even better, set aside a separate day to gather references and plan your drawing ideas in advance. Create a folder or a mood board to keep your references organized. And even if you don't have a reference ready, just draw any object that catch your eye in your surroundings. In fact, this is even better because it trains your eye and helps you practice creating compositions from scratch instead of relying on ready-made image. Perhaps one of the most important points: look for inspiration in nature. The simplest things around us often make the best subjects. Artists often take long walks, and for good reason, because it's a way to feed the brain with fresh impressions by noticing the light, colors, beautiful landscapes, animals and people in their everyday lives. There is also something deeply mindful about noticing beauty in the world around you, capturing it through your art, and then looking back at the piece to relive that moment. For example, this piece I'm sharing with you in this tutorial was inspired by a simple January sunset walk. The sun's golden rays stretched across the snow and the air felt warm. Kids were sliding down the snowy hill and birds sat on the trees in the soft evening light. I hope this watercolor tutorial or some thoughts that I shared inspired you to notice and capture the little wonders around you too. See you in the next video.